Hey everybody, thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast from March 6th through the 8th. And I'm going to focus quite a bit on a storm that is going to impact our area tomorrow evening. So that's Thursday evening through Friday morning with some sleet and freezing rain, make things a little bit slippery. Nothing too huge, nothing that's going to cause major problems, but definitely something to keep an eye on. So here, what's going on across the country. We do have a significant what's left of kind of basically a front between the very warm air, the sort of warm air, and then cold air. And you can kind of see there's a secondary kind of boundary layer north of us. So we're in relatively warm here today after we got the snow overnight and last night overnight, and then this morning things cleared out and we warmed up. We're warming up pretty nicely today, but next week actually we look to warm up even more. But between then and now, this system will slowly kind of continue, and the boundary layer will approach us again with a period of, this time, more like sleet and freezing rain than actual freezing rain. But so if we take a look, there is still some strength with some of the precipitation here. It's really when this area of low pressure kind of starts to move a little bit more northward that it kind of pushes the precipitation. All day tomorrow, there's going to be precipitation really just south of us, and it's slowly as it moves up into our area. How quickly it does it and how much precipitation we get is a little bit up in the air, but it's not going to matter too much because with sleet and freezing rain, you don't need a lot of it to cause issues on the roads. The good thing is on Friday, we're going to be warmer after the precipitation moves through. We're not warm, but warm enough that it shouldn't linger with bad travel for long, but the morning will definitely be a bit slick. So let's take a look, and you can see that basically what's happening. You can see here's that area, a little bit of a dip in the jet stream here, and that's what's kind of where that low pressure system is. But then you can see how things are getting kind of strung out as all of these lines here get close together. That means that in the mid levels of the atmosphere, these are isoheights. Your winds are squished together and they kind of accelerate. And so we have some kind of fast-moving air on top of us now that's kind of stringing the storm out. But slowly this storm will kind of come. But you notice we're in the warm sector now. There is kind of a trough to our north, but we have kind of at least abnormally warmer temperatures at the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere above us right now. But we're also pretty close to where it's quite cold. And so we have this interesting contrast. And you can kind of see that in the two fronts. Like I said, we have kind of at the surface level, we've got a boundary to our south where the real warm air is. Then we've got relatively warm, but then not too far to our north up into Canada, a ways to our north, but not way far to our north. We do have cold air, and you can actually kind of see that. Here's your boundary layer, kind of where the real cold starts. And obviously up near the pole, again, that's the North Pole, although we are moving towards spring. And so these are cold temperatures even for there this time of year. But you notice kind of an area here across the country of moderate temperatures. These are probably slightly above average temperatures, basically what we're looking at here. But then to our south and over the southeastern part of the United States, we have warmth. Now, it looks like very likely now that after this weekend, we will start to tap in, at least for part of next week, into some of this. How long that happens for and whether it comes with precipitation, still not locked in, but certainly at least I think Monday, Tuesday, you can guarantee we're going to be well above average with a shot. I don't think we're going to make it to 60, but with a shot at 60 probably on Tuesday. So there you go. 50s, I think, for both Monday and Tuesday look very likely. So let's take a look at the storm. This is Thursday at 7 p.m. to Friday, 7 a.m. So it's only really a 12-hour thing, and you notice it's not even really that big a deal. It does show some of this as snow. I think most of it's actually going to be sleet and freezing rain, and I think this is the HRRR, like short rain forecast model. I think it's underplaying the precipitation just a little bit. Although if you're up in like in the Rutland area and kind of in the northern part of Rutland and Windsor counties, I think you probably, a lot of the precipitation stays to your south. But across Bennington and across Windham County, definitely a period of freezing rain or sleet and freezing rain. I think more sleet east of the Greens. The cold area is the cold layer is a bit thicker there, and west of the Greens, we're looking at more freezing rain. What do I mean by that? Well, what happens with these kind of systems is the precipitation falls as snow, then it falls into a warm layer of air where the precipitation melts into rain, and then there's a layer right near the surface where you've got below freezing temperatures. If that layer near the surface is a little deeper, then you get sleet because the rain has time to freeze all the way back into an ice pellet. That's what sleet is. If it's real shallow, real shallow, may only be a couple hundred, maybe a couple hundred meters high, then you can get it. It doesn't have time to freeze, but it gets cold, and then as soon as it hits the surface, it freezes, and that's freezing rain. So that's kind of like what we're looking at here. If we take a quick look at those weekend details, like what does this actually look like? Precipitation begins tomorrow evening between 5 and 7 p.m. So if you're driving anytime in the evening and later, you should expect that we could be slippery. So just FYI, because freezing rain, it will be warm during the day tomorrow, so it'll take a little bit potentially, but it won't take long for any freezing rain to kind of make the road slick, and sleet tends to do the same kind of thing. So just be aware of that. Precipitation begins as maybe a brief, quick hit of snow, but I think quickly turns to sleet and freezing rain, and that initial snow may not even happen. Sleet more likely east of the greens, like I was saying, so, and freezing rain to the west. And then precipitation ends between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. on Friday morning. Roads early Friday morning will probably be slick. There should be some delayed openings possibilities. Probably not everywhere. Some of us might end up just warm enough that freezing rain doesn't really happen. I would Bennington, Brattleboro, I'm thinking you. But some other areas, delays are definitely possibility. I don't think we'll have many school closings or anything like that, because I think it'll probably get better quickly. And we're only looking at maybe 1/10 to 2 inches to 2/10 of an inch of ice, which is enough to make the trees look all glistening and make the roads kind of slippery. But particularly the freezing rain section is definitely more about sidewalks and side roads. Salt works really well with freezing rain generally, so that should kind of keep that from being too bad. The sleet is a little tougher, takes a little bit more to move, so the sleet can kind of linger a little bit more. But that's what we're looking at. In terms of the actual weekend forecast, as we look into that, we've basically got Friday, that mix, that's mostly in the morning. It's out of here pretty quick. Temperatures kind of hover just above freezing for a lot of the day, so so it's not as warm tomorrow as it's been today, and it will be not as warm Friday as it's been today, and it will be tomorrow. We fall down just below freezing, but then we warm back up on Saturday. Could have some sprinkles throughout the day, and then a period in the evening of rain, maybe a gusty rain shower. There's a front that will be dying, or kind of that had some stronger gusty showers, and maybe even a thunderstorm west of us that will be approaching our area. I don't think we're going to see any of that kind of stuff, but we could see an evening, a brief burst of rain on Saturday evening. We don't really cool off much Saturday night with the clouds. Temperatures in the mid 40s on Sunday. Sunday's a good ski day if you like the spring ski. It'll be spring skiing conditions, but nice weather, nice and warm. And then you can see, even with clear skies, we end up in the mid 30s for a lot of us. Some of the sheltered valleys could fall down below freezing on Sunday night into Monday. We'll have pretty good radiational cooling that night, so that will definitely be possible. But on average, I think we end up in the mid 30s before we start to warm up a little bit. So let's look at those weekend details for you. A period of sleet and freezing rain will impact our area from Thursday, approximately 6 p.m. through Friday around 8 a.m. Temperatures will warm above average for the rest of the weekend. Saturday will be cloudy with a few sprinkles and a period of gusty showers in the evening. Sunday will be the best ski day with spring-like conditions, and the first half of next week looks warm with temperatures well above normal. Like I said, I think we're basically locked into 50 or above on Monday and Tuesday, and that could extend into Wednesday and Thursday. Less likely as we get further into that, but possible. And Tuesday, we've got our best shot we've had in a long time of getting to 60. I don't know if that'll happen, but definitely a shot, particularly in those lower elevations, particularly where the snowpack might start to dwindle some in some of those low elevations in the Bennington, Brattleboro area, where we've still got a bunch of snow. It's going to probably be more like mid 50s on Monday, Tuesday. So there you go. Looks pretty nice. Spring is showing some signs. There are some signs that we still might see a return of winter as we get further into the month, but we will have to worry about that as it comes. It's March, so we can get both some warmer weather, and we can certainly still get lots of snow. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'm going to send this one out to everybody just since it has some impactful weather on it. So I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here. If your patrons always get this Wednesday forecast, if you're interested in getting it, go ahead and you can click on the link in the description below. It brings you to my Patreon page. And otherwise, I try to get forecasts out on Monday and Friday. Thanks for joining me, and I will be back on Friday with an updated look at this forecast.